Welcome to the Literary Titan podcast. In every episode, we dive into a book we've just read and share our thoughts, from best-selling authors to rising literary stars. We read it. Now let's talk about it.
Dan M. Majeru's The Making, the Rise, and the Future of the Speakingman is, in its 7th edition, an ambitious work that joins paleoanthropology, neuroscience, climatology, geomagnetism, and civilizational theory into a single interpretive design. Its architecture matters. The book moves from pre-linguistic hominin development through migration, cognition, and symbolic culture, then turns toward the future, planetary thermal cooling, and finally the emergence of the information society. That breadth gives the volume its proper scale. This isn't a monograph in the narrow academic sense. It's a speculative system, a long argument about what kind of creature the human being became, what forces shape that becoming, and what mental regime may be arriving next. What gives the book its peculiar identity is the author's insistence that human evolution can't be understood by anatomy alone. Majeru treats the brain as a structure formed under planetary pressures, especially cooling cycles and geomagnetic disturbances, and he frames the human story around two decisive cerebral transformations. One that differentiates late hominins from apes, and another that produces the modern brain. Even the title term, Speakingman, is revealing. It presents humanity less as a biological species than as a being constituted by language, cognition, and collective adaptation. The result is a work that reads as both grand hypothesis and metaphysical anthropology, a theory of how matter, environment, and mind co-evolve. I think the book's most interesting intellectual gesture lies in its contrast between nonlinear and linear modes of thought. Majeru isn't content to narrate the emergence of Homo sapiens. He explains shifts in consciousness, the rise of quantification, the growth of individualism, and the possible need for a future hybrid thinking approach. That conceptual range lets the book travel unusually far, from cerebellar development to the political psychology of modernity. At one point, it distills its civilizational unease into the sentence, "This linear way of thinking produced many things." And the line carries more weight than its plainness first suggests, because the entire book is wrestling with the achievements and costs of linearity as a cultural form. Majeru writes like someone trying to assemble a total picture before the fragments drift apart. The book's real subject is not only human origins. It's the author's attempt to think origins and destiny within one continuum. That's why a phrase from the dedication, "I am a nonlinear person," feels more than autobiographical. It reads as a key to the entire enterprise. The book is shaped by a mind that values cross-domain association, recursive analogy, and large explanatory arcs over disciplinary restraint. As a 500-page intellectual construction, this 7th edition is best read for the pattern it proposes rather than for any single conclusion. Its scale is its argument. By the time it reaches the information society, the book has made clear that it sees humanity as an unfinished cognitive project, still being reorganized by environment, technology, and forms of thought. What remains most memorable to me is the seriousness of that wager. Majeru believes that the history of the human mind is inseparable from the history of the planet, and he writes as though both histories are entering another phase together. Whether one accepts every step of the argument or not, the book presents itself as a comprehensive anthropology of becoming, and that's what makes it a singular, intellectually provocative work.
Thanks for joining us on the Literary Titan podcast. If today's review sparked your interest, Be sure to pick up a copy of the book and experience it for yourself. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating, or share it with a fellow book lover. Until next time, keep reading, not just to escape, but to grow.